Hello everyone, it's me, Coffee Stitcher. It is the it's the first February and Sunday. Woo! Clearly I haven't had enough of this yet. It is the first Sunday in February. How is everybody? Awesome, that's really good to hear. I had a week, let me tell you. We've got Q&A, of course. We've got haul. We have some abandoned plans, including one grievous error that made me very sad. And yeah, so, hopefully y'all had a smoother week than I did. I'm waiting on my comment questions to load. Okay. Alright. So, the first question comes from Ann B. Are you still doing any Are you still doing any floss clubs? The answer is yes, and we'll talk about that here in just a few moments. The next question comes from Brandon Hetty. He says, what is this stitching book club? I need more information. Stitching Book Club is run by Sapphire Mountain Handcrafts. She's on Etsy. There are 4 books planned for this year. I actually need to do some reading today because I've read 2 of my first 5 chapters that I wanted to have read by today. So, I gotta read 3 chapters today. I can do that, though. It's actually a fairly easy read. Sorry, digression. Hello! It's gonna be one of those days. I can already tell. I'm sorry. I think I'm probably gonna be a hot mess today. But Stitching Book Club, she designs a sampler. It's a mystery sampler. It comes out, the first one was 3 parts. This time she did 4 parts, which I think is working better. But it's a mystery sampler, and you read the book, and you stitch along as you read the book. And then every time a new part comes out, she'll do a discussion day. And she'll put up usually 5 or 6 questions, and then there's a free question post. And you can respond to any and all of them that you would like. So the first one up is Three Musketeers. It started, like I said, it's a fairly easy read so far. After that, we get The Secret Garden, then Frankenstein, and then finally, in December, we're going to do A Christmas Carol. And it's going to be a shorter, she said it's going to be probably a 1 or 2 off mini, because it's not a very long book and there's not a lot of time in December. So, and then she's also released a logo pattern, as well. So, kind of fun and exciting. So you can follow, there is a hashtag and an account for it on Instagram. There's also a Facebook page for it. So, check it out. Totally worth it. Kristen's really a cool person. Not like we talk every day, but we've chatted enough she's pretty cool people, so. And she has a floss tube, but I don't know if it's Sapphire Mountain Handcrafts is her username or not. But she does have a floss tube. Yes. Alright, so the next question. Robin B. asks, since you have each of your projects off of a Q-snap, do you iron it prior to putting it back on the Q-snap? When you are stitching, how do you manage your extra fabric? It doesn't look like you use a grime guard. Also, how do you decide when it's time to start a new project? Okay, so to answer your first question, I don't iron anything. I'm terrible about ironing. Fortunately, because what I do end up getting finished doesn't need to be ironed, because I can take it somewhere and they stretch it, and then there go all the wrinkles. So it's not really a problem for me. Extra fabric, if it's at the top, so, here, I've actually got a project on a Q-snap. So, oh, that was unique. Okay. Alright, so, looking at from the back of my fabric, or project. Anything here or on the sides, I just let dangle. That doesn't bother me. I can move my hand around it. I do, however, use a hair clippy doobie thing to hold anything that's hanging down here, because the last thing I want to do is not realize that I'm stitching this solid. And then I have sewn my project to my Q-snap, which has happened and is embarrassing and a little funny, but mostly embarrassing. I don't use a grime guard, partially because, like, I like grime guards, but I find more often than not that they get in the way for me. But I like them. I think they're fun, and they make great hats. Alright, and then how do I decide when it's time to start a new project? Generally speaking, I try to have the rule of finish 3, start 1. Sometimes it's because there's a new Sal coming and I absolutely have to start it right this second now. Hey. Sometimes it's because someone says, hey, I just bought this pattern and I really want to do it. Do you want to do it with me? And the answer is usually yes. So kind of whenever I feel like it, by and large, is the answer. I didn't do my hair this morning. Alicia Bell asks, have you done any Harry Potter cross-stitch? If so, where did you get the pattern? My daughter likes the snake. It starts with an S. I'd like to make her one. I don't know a lot about Harry Potter. Okay, so yes, I've done a couple of things. I've got several things that are on the go, none of which that are currently actively stitching on. Well, I say that. We'll see. The snake you're referring to is Slytherin. It's one of the 4 houses that the students can live in Hogwarts. At Hogwarts? Not in Hogwarts. Well, I guess technically in Hogwarts. Never mind, that's semantics now. But it's Slytherin. I would highly recommend going to Etsy and searching Harry Potter cross-stitch or Slytherin cross-stitch. Because that'll get you closer to what you're looking for. Because there's just so much out there that... And Etsy's really the best place to look. Gina, excuse me. Your answer will be coming shortly. Alright. Let's see. Pharma Geek, when you don't meet your goal for asks, when you don't meet a goal for your whip, do you chalk it up to being an off-stitchy week, or is it assigned to make it inactive for the time being? It depends. Sometimes it's just an off week. Nothing is working for me, so I don't really look at it that way. I tend to look at it more, did I actually touch it this month? Did I actually want to touch it this month? When I did touch it this month, did I put 4 stitches in and decide, no, I want to work on something else? And if I do that a couple of times, then it's time for it to go away. Or, conversely, it's not necessarily, did I not make my goal? Sometimes it's, by the time I made my goal, was I so sick and tired and annoyed by this piece that I don't want to touch it for a while. And sometimes, like in the case of Giant Harry Potter, it's, I work on it, and then I'm done with it for about 18 months. And then I'll work on it some more. That tends to be how I go. So it kind of depends on the whip, what's going on. Linda Kleindenst asks, is Wizard of Oz still available? Yes, it's by Leslie Teare, T-E-A-R-E, and it's Leslie E-Y, and it is available on her website. I think it's about $10. All right, and that, I think, takes care of the Q&A for today. All right. Alright. Okay. So, let's dive on into the stash. This week, I got my nest egg from 3L Threads. There was a delay on the gentle art side of things. Gasp of shock and surprise. But this was the first one that featured wool. So I got apple cider and avocado. Barn gray and bayberry. And baby spinach. Right. So those were actually not colors that were necessarily new to me, but I know as we go on there will be a lot more colors that I don't have. And then I got my Krynex. So this month it came with Flame and Forest Green. And then Fly By Night and Fiery Fuchsia. So some fun colors there. Then I got some fabric. So okay, so first I got my first fabric of the month from Fortnite Fabrics. That's where all the fabric's from, actually. And it's 18 count. I think it's either 16 or 18 count, but I think it's 18 count. Ada, this is Alba White Truffle. This is their neutral line. And it's a fat quarter. It's beautiful. Okay. Then I got this very pretty purple. It's also 18 count Ada. It's about a fat eighth. I'm really enjoying the Ada train currently. And then a full quarter, or a fat quarter, 18 count Ada of a cool gray. I don't know what I'll do on it, but I like it. And then this lovely piece of blue, which has a plan. It's also 18 count. And this blue is going to be used, so this will sort of slide on in, because part Hopper Bart and then Rob on Instagram both got real excited about the fairy tale Veronica and Ginger book, so they ordered it. So we're going to be doing Beauty and the Beast. I've got to get a couple of the colors, but I've got basically all of them already. So there it is. Oop, don't show the pattern, or the chart. So I'm going to do that on this blue. So that's exciting. Oh, and there's my kit. I still have to get a needle minder for it, but that'll come later. All right. Okay. So, this week's... Let's see, what did I work on this week? What did I work on this week? Goodness. What's over here that I can show you? Oh, I guess I did finish up the Three Musketeers mini salve. That would be what I worked on. I've been one of those. Told you, I'm a hot mess today. Pulling up my... Oh, well, I guess I can show I know what my homework was. I forgot to show you all, I think, my needle minder for for it was one I got at Stitch Niche. It's got Marie Antoinette and the Eiffel Tower, which one of the shop owners, Kim, was the one who made these, and she said, I know that it's historically inaccurate because Marie Antoinette was not alive when the Eiffel Tower was built, but she said it was the only she said it was French, and I thought it was pretty, so I made minders out of it. Here we go. Here's the first part, all nice and done. And here's the needle minder. So, there we go. Part 2 comes out, I think, on the 22nd. It's like the last Saturday of the month. So, looking forward to that. That's that for now. Alright, so my group had to work on the project that had a button in it. So I worked on summer patchwork. And I finished the birdie. Look at the birdie. So I've only got 8 motifs left, so be curious to see where I get to use it this month. Alright, now we get into the sad portion of events. So I started work on Nutcracker, because all I had to do was backstitch on it. And this is one of those, case in point, it's not really bringing me joy. I did finish the top part. It's a beautiful fabric, it's a beautiful piece, but it is just not bringing me joy. I find myself struggling to work on it every single time. So, it's going into the inactive whip category for the time being. It is not fully abandoned. I do intend eventually to finish it, but for now, to quote Animal and Muppet Babies, go bye-bye. How's that for a slightly esoteric callback from 30 years ago? Alright. Actually, I think the show's older than that, but we're not going to go there. Actually, the show is older than that, but we're not going to go there. Okay. But subsequently, none of the other things that I was going to work on got worked on. I did pull out Words to Live By, which leads us to the second really sad part. Those of you who follow me on Instagram probably saw this. I believe this was on me. When I was measuring my fabric, I must have made a mathematical error. Because my stitches, from the final stitch to the edge of the fabric, is about that much. Can't get it in a hoop, can't get it on a Q-snap, I don't stitch in hand well. It's really even not enough. I could attempt to do it as a wall hanging, but it would mean I'd have to add some sort of extra fabric to make up for the serging, and I don't like how that looks. And I don't think it would be a very good pillow. It just, to me, this design is not pillowish. Because of the way it's laid out, there isn't a way to really adapt it to fit what I've screwed up. So it just is what it is. So unfortunately, for now, this one is going to have to go into the totally UFO'd pile. Fortunately, there is enough fabric left on the top and the bottom. They're going to be sort of weird cuts, but I can take it to Stitch Niche and have them trim what's usable, and I can use it. And for now, it will just go away. I may pull this out, because I really do love the pattern. So it may be something I work on again, on restart on new fabric, but right now, I don't want to. I appreciate all of the kind thoughts and all of the suggestions. it is what it is. It's just gonna have to be abandoned, and there's no way around it, unfortunately. So shed a teal. All right, so then moving on to happier things, Modern Folk Embroidery Part 2 began. So I got Part 1. January is all completely done now. And then Part 2 finished out this big red motif and started this blue one. This is Bejeweled from Classic Colorworks, which I absolutely love. And that's it basically completed. About 6 stitches beyond this, in the middle of a heart, is where the page ends. And since I'm using a variegated floss and I don't want to have a whole lot of like dangly loose ends, I'll have to do kind of like I did over here with its top border. I'll just have to wait until the next one comes out and I can finish that on out. So I've got my colors picked for the rest of it. Some people have seen it, some have not. I'm going to let it basically be a surprise for everyone. And I haven't decided. I may do the next motif today. I may not. We will see. We probably will, though. If I'm honest. But I may not be right. So, we shall see. That bridge shall be crossed when we come to it. Oh, I actually forgot to show a bit of haul. I got a very lovely gift in the mail from Mama Llama. And I accidentally left the chart in the other room. But she sent me a kit for a really cool Wizard of Oz chart. So it came with the floss, as well as some interesting metallic. It's not DMC. I don't really know what it is, but it's a really cool metallic-y green. It came with needles. It came with what looks like part of a pin, and a needle threader, and some very pretty green Ada, 14 count. So it's sort of a light seafoamy green color. So she sent me that. And then she also sent me some Disney Villains stickers. So we've got like the Evil Queen and Ursula wearing Mickey ears. Got all sorts of fun Disney villains. Doesn't look like Yzma's in here, but that's okay. Yzma's surprisingly not very popular in the villain circle, and I'm not sure if it's just because there's not... I really think it may actually just be because, well, she doesn't die. That's one thing. She lives. But she also doesn't have a song. Levison doesn't have a song, but it seems like modern Disney villains all have a song, and Yzma doesn't have one. And then some really cute Wizard of Oz stickers, too. I like the Rainbow Tornado. So, thank you, Mama Llama. Alright, so now we jump in to this week's homework. So, for this week's homework, there's 5 tasks and then 3 bonus tasks. So, the first one is stitch on a project with beads. I do not actually have an active whip that involves beads. Who knew? That one will be penalty stitches, which will be determined later. It's probably going to depend on what I'm in the mood to work on, or what I feel like needs some extra love. Alright, we're going to save this one for last because it's funny. We're supposed to do 100 stitches in either blue or red. So I'm going to do, with the needle, and work on the sky, because there's at least 100 stitches of blue sky there. If not, there is a red barn, But definitely blue sky, and blue needed to be in the name, and that color is DMC 3841 Baby Blue Pale. So blue is definitely in the name. All right. Then stitch on a project with a flower. So I'm going to stitch on Pride and Prejudice. I'm going to work on part 2. Ba-dum! There we go. Because there's flowers all over this thing. Including, I think, a big vase, which is part of flowers, which is part 2. And I'm debating, I may end up using this one again for the blue one as well. Or the red one, we'll see. Alright. Then we're supposed to stitch on a project that gives us nightmares. And for that, I'm going to be using Nevermore. I did actually stitch a little on Nevermore. I got part of a bat. But I'm going to work on Nevermore. I'm going to work on the bats. Because this is it's got a graveyard, which is kind of nightmarish. It's a Ouija board, which is can be scary. There's bats, which can be scary. There are plants that can be scary. Pardon me. So there's all sorts of things that can cause nightmares or be featured in nightmares. All right. Our bonuses, which originally I had planned to do Nevermore for, but then I decided I wanted to do this one instead. We have to stitch on a project that has an item, the 3 tasks, has an item that starts with the letter L, the letter R, and the letter M. So I'm going to work on my City Mouse and Country Mouse. So the M is obviously mice. L is for leaves. And then R, we've got a couple of things. We've got red poppy, red juice, smaller red flowers, and red roofs. Or roofs for R. And a red kerchief on fleur. So that's going to be what I use for the bonus. Now for the one that I actually found kind of hilarious, and maybe no one else will. Maybe it's just going to be me. I think Lorna thought it was funny, though. She did message me about it. We were supposed to stitch on a project that has a food you would not eat in it. So I'm going to be working on Wizard of Oz, because I am not a cannibal, so I would not eat people. And my basis for this is in the Tim Burton Willy Wonka, when they first arrive in that first room, the candy room with the chocolate river, and he says, everything in this room is eatable, including me, but that's called cannibalism, and it's frowned on in most societies. So, I am not a cannibal, working on the Wizard of Oz. I'm weird. But y'all knew that. It's okay, you know me, though. My kind of weird is allowed. Anyhow, so that's kind of it for me this week. To replace Nutcracker, I think I'm going to bring Weasley Twins back out. Because I like Weasley Twins. And to replace Words to Live By, I did buy this year's Season Sal from Tiny Modernist. So I may work on that. I don't really know 100% for sure yet what I'm going to work on, though. I do feel like I earned a new start. That's going to be Beauty and the Beast in a couple of weeks, though. Because they've got to get their books. So, and if you do want that book, the only place that I can find it online anymore is the publisher's website. So, if you want it, I would hop on it, because I'm pretty sure that means it's out of print. So, anyhow, I will see you all next time. Have a great week.